The monopoly economy. Well, these notes that I will use today were meant to be used during my Sunday fakeology show, but let's not wait the whole week. I have other things to share later um, regarding the monopoly economy. Well, I suppose most of us believe that it's a free economy, an open economy, or it was once upon a time. So, somewhat like the internet, everyone had their own, not everyone, but hmm, um, innovative people went and made websites. It was the Wild West. And now everything is becoming centralized. YouTube is the search engine, if people search at all anymore. Well, I suppose we could look at the history of economies the same way, especially in the West, which we think was so different from the East. Probably not. Well, they did give us the middle class. They built the dream for us. They let us have a bit of the dream, the fake dream, the fake paradise. And that helped draw many, many, many people into the trap. Absolutely the trap. And now, well, who's left? Who still grows their own food, builds their own house? Everyone's stuck in what's the word? Yeah, the trap economy. Maybe I should have called this presentation the trap economy, trap world, or yeah, fortress world again. Now everyone's dependent on everyone else, and behind everyone else are the monopolists. But it's always been a monopoly. That's what I will attempt to demonstrate with 7 quick points. It's always been a monopoly. Yes, it has. Well, someone once said that the tabletop game Monopoly was created to help people understand how the economy works. That's a bit of a joke. Let me explain exactly how rigged the monopoly economy really is. One, the creators of our economy own the central banks that create money for themselves for free. And they set interest rates for us, the borrowers, who they see to it can't survive without borrowing. Number two, the creators of our economy started the game by owning all the land for free. Before, their puppet governments sold it for cheap to rich families, who in turn sold it for higher prices to smaller buyers. And they sold it, the creators of the economy, of the board game, they also sold land to real estate developers. And it was all free land for them, just as they create free money for themselves and loan it out at near 0% interest to their privileged fellow bankers, commercial banks, I guess we call them. And nice game, yes. If you could play Monopoly and print your own money and start by owning all the land, who's going to win that game? But we're not done yet. Number three, the creators of our economy control the natural resource sector. and the banks that create the housing and construction markets and set their prices. Of course, there's a bit of competition among corporations, but the big corporations gradually buy the smaller ones, and they are in cahoots, of course. And now we see what's happened to the real estate market. No one can afford a house anymore, a 50-year mortgage. Who wants that in the US? In China, probably not very different. Number four, the creators of our economy also sell cars. No, it was not someone, the son of a farmer or plumber, who invented the first cars and created Ford or General Motors. No. And so we need those pieces to travel around their board. Can't survive anymore in North America anyway, hardly, without a car. Five, they sell us the electricity and gas we need to function in this game, and they set their prices with their conspiring corporations. I've just seen a few Americans talking about their outrageous electricity bills. It is bizarre when you compare the prices that are paid here, south of the US border. Number six, they control education. They decide which technologies become available, and they create our state and corporate news and entertainment. So they control what we know, and that helps ensure that we don't go back to independent living off the land, on the land, I like to stress. Seven, they control all major governments and increasingly local governments, which ensures that the above six problems will not be solved. Yeah, very fair game, isn't it? Fair game. We are fair game, speaking with hunting terminology. We are their fair game. Well, allow me to share some work I've done recently on war. War lexicon. It's all a joke. It's all a joke. War is a joke. And, well, there's no end to the evidence, it's apparently. This is just 3 pages of evidence that all war-related vocabulary, I haven't found an exception yet, or maybe a couple. All war vocabulary hints at the fact that war is not real. Of course, there is war. I wish it would get more coverage. It's not in Iran, it's not in Israel, it's nowhere in Africa. It's not in Ukraine, it's in every country, it's in every household. Wherever people are struggling to stay healthy and pay bills, that is the real war. With that, let's have a look at some military vocabulary. Starting with the word war, which is unusual. I mean, among Germanic languages, it's not related to the others. So I had to think about this, and apparently, it was derived from the Dutch and Afrikaans word waar, W-A-A-R, which means where. So war means where, and the joke is, where is war? Nowhere. It's a joke. Warhead, literally the front part of a missile, or other projectile that contains its explosive material or chemical agent. Why personify a missile? Do they need heads? Do heads explode? Well, I guess we could joke that people who believe in war are warheads. They are weaponized by fear and they feed their enemies with their war taxes and services. Missile is also an interesting word. I think it's later in my list. Um, Warfare, bizarre word. Fare means ticket price. Now, war is a paid event, like a country fair. The word fare also means food, and its archaic meaning is to eat. Eating becomes a recurring theme in these war-related words. I mentioned, or I decoded the word military in the past. I think it was in the lecture on underground bases, military bases. Well, military, mill means a place where food is processed. That leaves Itari, and I did find evidence online that it's related to Tartary, there, and which is related to Tartarus, which is mentioned in the Bible, used as a synonym for the underground, which connects very well with my theory that underground complexes were really human farms. And there, of course, you could say they processed humans. Um, Another possible reading, Itari, Italy, L and R are closely related, are indistinguishable in some languages. But what does Italy mean? It's almost Latin spelled backwards. Um, so I'm not sure where this goes, but I believe the U.S. operates not one, a lot of military bases in Italy, not one, but 6 primary major military installations supported by about 120 smaller classified facilities. Yeah, officially only 12,000 American military personnel work there. How many personnel from other countries? How many non-military personnel? All that is open to question. Defense. Remove the fence. Therefore, no defense. The word defense means no defense. Castles, for example, were not defensive structures, but prison farms that offend conscience. All departments and ministries of defense are offensive, waging war on our minds with lies. Naval, related to the navel each one of us has, a connection to every child's mother's water. So we're connecting naval forces to babyhood. War theater. This almost needs no comment, does it? It's a place where battles supposedly occur. And yes, fake battles occur in war theaters. Although even that's no longer necessary with CGI. Army staging area is another one. Needs no comment. Battlefront. A front is something fake, an act. An act of war. That's theater terminology again. The corpse, the army corpse. Oh, geez. You know, it's funny how we adopt these words without a second thought. Corpse without an E and corpse with an E. Yes, figuratively, perhaps the brain dead are the army corpse. Corporal, as in corporal punishment. Again, you're just a body and nothing more. Sergeant. Sergeant originally meant serving man, even domestic servant. Seems a little degrading. But it gets worse. Troops. This word means a group of monkeys. That's the, I believe, original meaning. Gorilla or gorilla. What a coincidence. Infantry, infants or idiots. Well, not mentally mature. Platoon, from the Spanish plateau, Plato, meaning plate. Similarly, cartoon, which was derived from carton, just added an extra O. Well, war is like a cartoon, not real, and soldiers in a platoon are served like food on plateaus, plates. Not literally, perhaps, but as fuel for the war fakery machine. Division, or should we pronounce it die-vision? That DI. Often we do pronounce DI syllables, die, as in dilate. Die, oh gosh, there's another sick joke there, maybe. Dilate, it's at the moment of birth, women die late. Oh my gosh. Horrible stuff. I have to make my own language, or a new language. Soldier, or should we pronounce it soul dyer or solo dyer? Someone who dies alone, not in battle. Or should we spell soul, the first syllable, S-O-U-L, soul dyer, someone who kills the soul, maybe. Colonel, one of the strangest non-phonetic words in the English language. The first 5 letters are C-O-L-O-N or colon. Perhaps that's technical term for asshole. Colon. Yeah, well, in Spanish, entire neighborhoods, or the word neighborhood is colon. Yes, isn't that nice? Major, from the Spanish mujer, meaning woman, but more closely related to mayor, which in Spanish means elderly. Not perhaps elderly woman together makes a major. Nice. So what goes on? I won't read them all. This is all available in my book. I will share one more. Atomic bombs. Well, I'm not doing etymology in this one, but related etymology will be used. Let's see. The US bomber that reputedly nuked Nagasaki and Hiroshima, which are both very close on the 33rd parallel, that US bomber was named Enola Gay after the first and middle name of the pilot's dear mother. Is that Funny. Gay used to mean happy, but obviously that bomber did not bring happiness to Japan. Is that ironic? And the two atom bombs were named Little Boy and Fat Boy. Do you see the joke? This name game suggests that two boys were placed inside a plane named after a mother. And that when this mother flew over Japan, she gave birth to her two boys, which fell out of her belly. The sickos also named the U.S. nuclear test site Trinity after the tripartite Christian God. I, maybe also the Hindu tripartite or Trinity. Who would make such a joke? Robert J. Oppenheimer, the Jewish chief nuclear scientist responsible for developing the imaginary nuclear bomb. That's who, I suppose. Um, yes, war is a joke. I'm doing some extra research on more the weapons and related war hardware of the past, such as shields. Amazing what shields really were. No, they were not used for war. So, I make this radical statement and then I have to reinterpret everything that we associate with war, shields and swords included. And, well, swords, we'll have a look at that in a moment. For now, I want to go to the internet, to my tabs, just a few. So it's important that I started this lecture by discussing the real war, which is partly economic. Certainly another part is health related, the war on our health. Um, Now, I often post my work. I post all my lectures on BitChute and YouTube. Now, obviously, BitChute is a smaller platform. And on YouTube, I can find people posting videos of themselves discussing the economy, sharing their pain, this dismay, disgust, anger, and even determination to leave first world countries, um, even showing that they are now living in tents in order to save money or living in their cars, buying mobile homes and so on. Um, can't find any of those on BitChute. I guess it's too small, but look what we can find. This morning, yes, someone has this amazing news, the biggest news in 200 years, I believe. He claims apparently some new proteins have been discovered, and one day you'll be able to buy them, and they will prolong your life, possibly forever. Well, he didn't use the word forever, but it was implied. Biggest breakthrough in human history. Oh dear. Well, it depends on who you talk to, how long that is. I don't give it as much time as our conventional scientists do. Um, Now, if I search for war-related videos, I will find, I believe, over 300,000 videos about war. Yes. And if I were to do a search for, well, how do you even search for the real war? Like I said, there's nothing here, nothing there at least. Um, in YouTube, I have seen quite a few reports, documentaries about what's happening in China. It's not so unlike what's happening here, although they might be in a worse situation, maybe, if that's possible. Certainly the youth are, I think. There's quite a movement there, a couple of movements, to just quit cooperating, quit trying. See, here we have quiet quitting. It has its own trendy name, Bailan, the Bailan movement. Young people are seeing that all their effort is not rewarded, so why? Why try? Do the minimal you can to keep your job. Many young people are moving back to the countryside. They have that option because China developed so fast that grandparents still have property in urban, rural areas. Yeah, unlike we in the developed world, it's been too many generations since we lived on the land. Um, despairing 10 no's youth. China's last generation, resignation to lying flat. Lying flat is another movement. Here you go, lying flat. Well, it just means I give up. There's no point to wasting my time and energy on the economy, boring jobs that are not fulfilling. Um, unlike Taiwan and the US, the price of lying flat is too high for young people in China. So, what are well, they're doing it. Letting it rot is a related movement. Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. Our whole entire generations are just entire. And yeah, two, I suppose. The generations alpha, maybe. Are they in universities even? Millennial generation. Uh, but you see the same in America, Canada. Um, maybe America is leading the way in the West. Maybe Britain. I don't know. It's bad everywhere. Quitting America, jobless Harvard sheeps. People have changed. No kidding. Americans are quitting. Teachers are quitting. Generated. Oh, yeah. Teachers are quitting. Yes. Teachers quit. Why men prefer to be single? Well, millions of Americans are quitting their jobs. I think this one is mechanics are also quitting. Oh, China bakes.
8 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, unusually high temperatures for late spring. Unusually cool temperatures in Nova Scotia. Car mechanics are quitting. Yes, because the automotive manufacturers set hourly limits on how much a repair job should take. And those are apparently usually about half the time the repair actually takes. Um, Most actors are going broke, and not just computer programmers and bank tellers and people who work in grocery stores and warehouses. No, also actors. So yeah, wonderful. We've helped our enemies create the AI and the robots that are destroying our jobs. It's almost funny, but it isn't. Fortunately, we can always create a better world, can't we? Instead of being stuck in the prison we created, which is, yeah, there's another one. China's unemployed youth. There aren't jobs. Well, no, no kidding, no shit. Um, yeah, I could spend all day, looking at every country's struggles, economic struggles. The Washington Post, that most respected news magazine, has nothing about the common citizen struggle to survive. No, instead, desire for privacy is slowly killing this symbol of the American dream. What? How about desire to pay your bills or the inability to pay bills? No, that won't be covered. That will not be televised. Uh, Blue states, Trump's name, oh boy. Breaking down the sexting controversy, clickbait. Something about the vagus nerve. Factory jobs are coming back to the US. Yay! And they'll pay you half as much as they paid workers a generation ago, etc. Oh, some stuff about war, cancer, pancreatic. Excuse me, big frog in my throat. Pancreatic cancer drug results open new era for fighting highly lethal disease. Bullshit. We've been waiting for 100 years. You give us nothing. And scientists just have no shame. I think most of them actually believe they're trying. They're trying to solve the cancer problem. They don't understand that. We just need organic food, less stress, and zero vaccines. I'm sure there are some other important criteria to being cancer-free. Ah, yes, back to the fake war world. I will perhaps include images like this in one of my books. Imagine trying to fight for your life in warm temperatures, holding a fairly heavy weapon with a metal handle that's quite thin, with sweaty hands. Would that work? Or are they wearing leather gloves? And well, in the collection includes very small swords. And what is this? It's got a serrated part. You don't say that. Perhaps all these cutting instruments were perhaps meant for a kitchen, not for the battlefield. Why would you create such uncomfortable handles for soldiers, knights supposedly fighting for their lives? There's a sword completely serrated. Didn't know they could do that. Well, then that way you can saw through some bones. On the battlefield, of course. Yeah, saw. You hold still, please, while I saw off your leg to make this a fair fight. No, these are kitchen implements. Cutlery. Shields is another interesting part of war paraphernalia. No, I think all the round shields, almost all the round shields were meant um, as large platters for large servings of meat. Uh, Allegedly, these are Trojan war shields. So war shields for a war that never happened, which might explain the strange design. Doesn't seem very practical. Um, Other shields, of course, are not so round. Others are apparently just decorative, decorated, that is, with family heraldry. And yes, many of them do hang in European palaces, castles. Speaking of fake wars, I did have a look at this video of the poor victims of the Bolsheviks, who, according to, well, depending on your source, killed 60 million Christians, 50 million Christians. We're not sure. Um, this is related to the killing of 56,000 German nationals. Let's have a look. This is a very nice black and white video. Let's go to the beginning. It's all right. Camera angles. See, already in the first 2 seconds, we got two camera angles. Here. Do nice toot toot. Little baby carriages on top. No one is jumping for joy as these survivors, I suppose, are coming. They're just too stunned by years of war, perhaps. Everyone's well dressed. Lots of women and children. Oh, look at those camera angles. How many cameras were involved in this? You know, those Germans had their own little Hollywood back in the time of World War II. No one's celebrating, no one's hugging. What's going on here? There they go. Oh, so many camera angles. Almost too many. And this mother will relate her story with crying. Hard to be sure there's any real tearing, crying happening. It's doubtful. This boy is That's slightly amused. Bruno came across the border alone somehow. Was it just a hop, skip, and a jump? The music. How did he manage? Well, these children just seem curious more than traumatized. Not traumatized. They're well cared for. Anyway, enough. Lastly, if I may end with what is this? Oops. This is a scene from Dinner with, what's it called? My Dinner with Andre. Um, do I have any notes on this? I don't think so. I think this takes me to the end of my presentation. Let's have a listen. It's just a minute.
Finhorn, I met this extraordinary English tree expert who had devoted his life to saving trees. Just got back from Washington, lobbying to save the redwoods. He's 84 years old. He always travels with a backpack. He never knows where he's going to be tomorrow. And he said to me, "Where are you from?" And I said, "New York." He said, "New York. Yes, that's a very interesting place. Do you know a lot of New Yorkers who keep talking about the fact that they want to leave but never do?" And I said, "Oh, yes." And he said, "Why do you think they don't leave?" I gave him different banal theories. He said, "Oh, I don't think it's that way at all." He said, "I think that New York is the new model for the new concentration camp, where the camp has been built by the inmates themselves, and the inmates are the guards, and they have this pride in this thing they built. They built their own prison, and so they exist in a state of schizophrenia, where they are both guards and prisoners, and as a result, they no longer have, having been lobotomized, the capacity to leave the prison they made, or to even see it as a prison." Then he went into his pocket and he took out a seed for a tree and he said, "This is a pine tree." He put it in my hand and he said, "Escape before it's too late."
Lovely piece of nonsense. How is a pine tree seed going to help anyone escape? Pine, that's that word, pining for something. It's kind of painful longing. Thank you. That's what we need. More painful longing. And yeah, we can take some responsibility for building our own prison, but this game was rigged from the beginning. They made sure we didn't know and how to live outside the prison we only helped to build. And they made sure to, never give us what we need to build a better world, the knowledge we need, the ability to think clearly about life, not to be reactionary. Yeah, they've dumbed us down really well. Most of us, although that doesn't mean oh, we can't be rehabilitated. Anyway, I hope this has been interesting. I obviously I am interested in not living in the prison. Who is? I'm not interested, and I do like to help people see the world clearly, understand what the real war is, understand that it's not meaningful to be hopeful that the economy will one day improve, especially when really, as I keep saying, we could create a much better world. Well, maybe that's enough for a Sunday evening. I wish everyone the best, the best. Take care.